Hey, we're back. Okay, so
Yum.
everybody kind of relaxes and recovers themselves, including Fidame, who probably gets a walk around town with Dawn, as Dawn maybe helps her and she helps Dawn or something, because Dawn
Yeah.
has some problems with the entire feeding thing very easily.
At least I'm honest about it. She doesn't find out about it until it's too late and she's
Yeah.
reinvested.
Oh, Dawn. You and those fangs.
They didn't
Anyway.
grow properly.
hmm Anyway, after about the entire night passes, another good day goes by. So, and then it's early the next evening after that you get another nervous rapping at the door.
Is there a beatboxing to go with it?
No.
To go with the rapping?
Damn it.
Well, it's like, ha ha ha.
Oh, God, I can't stop myself. All right. Yes, Fieldings?
Oh, yes. Okay. He'll push his way in quickly and efficiently. So I made some calls out to some folks, and I did learn a few things which are very unusual and a little disturbing, which I don't know what to make of it all.
Disturbing how?
Well, some old contacts, newer contacts through old contacts, were able to get some footage of cameras along the highway in a couple of places, and using, we were able to get a little footage from a nearby camera to the place you were at. Did you know that the cameras at the castle you were at were disabled? Did you remember to get the you didn't remember to get the ATM camera?
Oof.
Who used an ATM?
It was recording once the other cameras came on, because it assumes that maybe if someone's stopping by, motion tripping thing. I don't know why, but it recorded some of the things, and we got a view of the vehicle a little bit, enough to at least track it partially and find out some information about it.
All right.
So, it wasn't associated with the hunters you met, which I did learn that the hunters you met seemed to be a part of a group of 7 which have been hunting in this region.
Right.
So it seems that some Sabbat grabbed your friend. I don't know why they were there.
Well, it's unfortunate.
Oof.
And of course, our friend with the connections in the Sabbat is the one who they have.
Yep. You don't reckon he'll snitch on us, right? I don't think Samuel's the type to, give up us to save him, hopefully.
I don't imagine so.
Okay, good. I just need to make sure.
But, there's also the possibility that they won't give him a choice.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things that a variety of us can do that would make his desires unimportant.
I need to teach Samuel to punch things.
Hmm.
That's on the list now.
There is a distinct possibility that it may be too late.
What would they want out of him? What does Samuel know? Actually, that's a stupid question. Samuel knows quite a lot.
Well,
on the upside, he doesn't have access to his computer or his phone.
Yeah?
True. Now, there is some problems because I have managed to learn, who the folks that she is, well, let's put it this way. They're associated with a member of the Sabbat who is a little dangerous and,
A little dangerous.
Oh, she, Apatia, the Queen of Tombs.
Okay. Out of game, I have never heard of her. In game, would I have?
Probably not.
Would our friend VtM have heard of her?
VtM actually might have heard about her.
Ooh.
Let me see how much. VtM will kind of like scowl at that name.
Familiar?
She's a betrayer.
By that, do you mean Sabbat?
No.
Or more so than that?
Do you know of the group known as the Giovanni?
Yes, I believe they are similar to the Mafia.
The Giovanni were created on the blood of another clan. Their leader was taken into a clan known as the Cappadocians. He then found and diablerized. Well, he was created using the blood of the progenitor of the Cappadocians, Cappadocius. With that information, he was able to diablerize Cappadocius, and then sent his child to replace the Cappadocians. There was one who was known to have assisted in his slaughter who was not of his bloodline. In a way. She joined the coup itself. In a way. Though it is said that she was betrayed by them eventually, but survived. Goes to show you that if you betray your own people, it does not mean that you will not be betrayed by the people that were trying to slaughter them off.
That makes sense. All right. And from what clan does she hail?
The Cappadocians.
Ah.
She's perhaps one of their last.
Ah, that makes sense.
This isn't good.
No, not particularly.
Fortunately, well, this is Fielding says. Fortunately, she's quite nomadic herself, and normally does not stay in a normal area. She
Next hotel room over?
no, that would be awful, and I wouldn't have come back here. Well, she created something of a biker gang because she learned about them from you Americans, and
We do occasionally have good ideas.
liked it.
All right.
Her gang would be it's quite sizable.
Do they all wear leather jackets and that as well? Because that's going to be easier to spot then.
Well, I mean, probably. I'm not up to all the standards. The thing is, she's been mostly out of Wallachia as the source of her influence. And the Wallachia is the capital of Romania. If you weren't aware of it. I don't know how much you Americans learned in your schools.
Nothing. I did not
Very
know
little
this.
from the schools, but I have watched that Castlevania series.
Alright.
So, would it be worth going to Wallachia to acquire our Samuel back?
Well, as far as we know, they haven't taken him as far as there.
Right?
It actually seems as though the vehicle was last seen just slightly to the north of here. So they perhaps changed vehicles, or at one of the smaller suburbs of here, of Budapest. Bucharest. I'm sorry, Bucharest. Yeah.
We'd done a little bit of extra traveling I was unaware of.
Bucharest. One of the suburbs of Bucharest is perhaps where they were at last.
Well, perhaps we can pick up his trail from there, as if our guest would be so kind as to help us find him.
Unfortunately, of you fighting me, you mean?
Yes. Yes.
I believe I mentioned I do not really have tracking skills per se.
Have you the ability to call animals?
Yes, but
Well, he did have a very distinctive stench, and it is all over that car that we were in.
it does explain a lot. Alright. I guess I can try this. So I guess you'll take her out to the car. Let's see about her summoning, I guess, dogs. Because that seems
Well,
like
I
a great
imagine we should probably travel up to an area near where the car was last seen first.
Yes. So you will get to an area near where the car was last.
Don't die, Titus.
Too late.
No, it's too late for the player characters, not for you.
Yes, okay. Alright, let's roll some stuff here. I can actually put the rolls up now that we're rolling stuff. So you'll head to an area where we're kind of like the area where the car was last seen, and you're attempting to track it, summoning a whole bunch of dogs. let's see here. I have to think of... She probably... Oh, right. That's a pretty good roll. Okay. All right. God. Like a lot
All
of
the dogs?
No, not all of them. Most of the dogs respond. It's most of them in the area. Like she'll like kind of let out a howl, and probably like a few dozen dogs show up, you know. And she'll kind of like instruct them in Samuel's scent and send them on their ways to spread out over the area. All right. I hope that can be of assistance.
Me too.
Okay.
Any further assistance you can provide in locating and recovering our companion would be appreciated, and we, of course, will do everything in our power to help you bring justice to the betrayer, if that is what you wish.
I've made no plans of such things. The betrayer is their own, and the Cappadocians, what remains of them would have their vengeance, if anything.
Ah, okay.
Though, last I heard...
Noticeably safer for us, then.
Last I heard, there was merely a handful of them left. She herself, well... Who knows what kind of connections she had created. She has had, at least, I assume, few childe since then. But her bloodline is probably thin and amongst the Sabbat only. She's pretty high up in them, so, I mean... Yep. So, anyway. Yeah. You can learn from Fieldings that the bike motorcycle gang she rolls is called the Scyths. Named after the fact that she was a Scythian.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's a terrible name. Awful.
Yeah.
She's bad at this.
Well, you know. She was associated with the Scythians back in the day. Yep. Anyway. So, after a few hours, like, the dogs will start to come back, you know, it seems that most of them not really having much luck. Though it seems like one dog will come back and will start and be like, this one seems to have caught some wind of the scent.
Why does scent it shall be?
Shall we go?
I'm afraid it might be an old scent, so I have no idea if he would still remain where he was. But so you'll track it back to a kind of secluded area, kind of off the beaten path of the kind of suburb little area you got there. I'll call it suburban village, because it's still more villagey, like European villagey, than like actual like suburbs like we would think. But it's like on the a smaller village on the outskirts of Bucharest. I almost did it again. I almost did Budapest again. I caught
You
myself.
almost flew us down to what is it, Iran?
Budapest. I don't know. Is that?
Or is that Saudi Arabia?
Budapest.
Or is it Hungary?
Is in Hungary.
Hungary.
Yes, Hungary.
Still.
Which is actually like it technically would follow you northwest from where you are. Because you are in southern Romania.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So, yeah, It'll certainly be a interesting little trip following the animal as it kind of like leads you through a number of kind of like areas and side streets and kind of things, and moves you along, and then eventually you're like find in this kind of back area, kind of like covered over by some plants and stuff, is of course a car that seems abandoned.
Figures. All right. Does it match the license plate of the car that took?
It does seem to match the plate of the car that took Samuel.
Excellent.
It seems as though the trail goes from here, and I believe they've perhaps gotten another vehicle of some kind, that they switched them. This dog here seems to identify a number of scents in the area.
Okay.
He's particularly nervous about one. He seems to identify it as perhaps a wolf?
Oh. I don't want to deal with werewolves. See, look what Samuel does. Look at the amount of trouble he is causing right now, and he's not even here.
Mm-hmm. Would the dog know the difference between a black spiral dancer and a werewolf?
Not really. It also probably doesn't really like...
It's not recognizing this as a werewolf.
It's not, or even like maybe as a wolf per se, but she's interpreting it as more like it must be wolf from what it describes, kind of thing. Like, big, wild smelling dog. You know.
Yeah.
Very mean smelling. You know. Which sounds like wolf. But, like, it's modern day Europe. You don't find wolves really very often. Which I don't know how many ways you find wolves in Europe nowadays, anyway.
Well, I mean, I don't think they're particularly rare, because that was one of the major predators in old times, and while they've certainly become less prevalent...
I mean, there's none left in England.
Yeah, there's none left in England.
We got them all.
Yeah, you did.
I mean, there's not a lot of wolves in the United States, but there are still coyotes.
It looks like Romania still has some, but not in this section of Romania. It's more center northwestern has them. No, Germany still has a few wolves. Good for Germany.
Mm-hmm.
And Italy and Spain and Portugal. Oh, and there's a little bit in France, on that border between France and Spain. But no, they're all dead in England and Ireland. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I did not realize there's grey wolves in India. That explains Jungle Book. I just thought it was dumb. Well...
You know what? Me too, yeah.
Yeah?
Yep.
Wolves are a really nasty... I mean, not nasty, but, like, they're a really dangerous predator.
And there's still a bunch of them around. Not so much in U.S. We've done a pretty good job of getting rid of them.
Yeah, but here we've got coyotes.
Yeah, we replaced them. And they're everywhere.
I mean...
They're, like, everywhere.
Yeah. Anyway, so... unlikely that this would be a natural wolf.
Very unlikely. Not impossible, but very unlikely. The thing is, it could also be, like, a pet, too. Like, your friend has a gator.
That's true.
I hope it's a pet.
I'm still paranoid about the Kai Society. Or the Kai
Yeah.
Institute.
Didn't like them very much.
No, and they meshed Sabat, and or other discontent vampires with a variety of other...
They actually meshed one group in particular who, from what you know, many of which associate with Sabbat.
Mm-hmm.
The Harbinger of Skulls.
That's right.
Well, I'm going to say Fieldings is here with you. You brought him along because he's the one that, was tracking things.
Yeah, he's the one with the mechanical connections.
Yeah.
He's nervously eating in the back.
Yeah, he's got the same bag of things. You've now realized he keeps...
Are they oysters?
No.
Not this time?
This time it's looks to be live shrimp.
Oh.
I'm buying some of them tomorrow.
He's just like... Nah.
Oh, that's not okay, dude.
Yeah. Just reaching in a bag, pulling stuff out, just chomping it down, nervously.
Mm-hmm.
What did you say about a large wolf?
I was under the impression that your master was familiar with those.
Well, they don't really show up anymore, so not anymore.
All right. I am curious, how did that book follow the events fairly closely? Or was it entirely fabricated?
I mean, oh, yeah, I mean, I was in the story, and I'm here, and Miss Lucy was in the story, and is here, and there was some dealings with some hunters, and we were living in the place they call Castle Dracula nowadays. I think people spread rumors that my employer lived there back in the old days, but no, he moved in afterwards, and that's where the rumors came from, I guess. Immortal, horrible creature. There was some truth to it. I mean, not all of it, but I don't. Anyway.
Oh, yeah, just idle curiosity. So, any cameras you can find that might have picked up what other car might have taken our friend?
I can look into it. I can make a few calls.
Yes, I believe our flight leaves soonish.
Oh,
the next day or two, though.
Yes. Flight?
Yes, we need to get to India.
Oh, all right. Do you need me to come with you?
How good are you at translating Indian? I believe it's Hindu there?
Hindi?
Hindi. My apology.
Well, in this new global market, with the need of a lot of languages, I have done much to study and expand my language base. I could speak a smattering of it. he literally goes off where his tone almost changes, and he does this speech that sounds like a corporate speech that someone gave him.
Oh heck yeah.
Yes, good. That's significantly more than I have.
Probably not a lot, but maybe I could get you a hotel and things like that. It has been some time since I was sent there.
VtM, how conversant are you with the language of India? Or the languages of India?
She'll basically quite well. My sire spoke that language pretty much. I wouldn't say exclusively, but enough for me to have learned it.
Ah.
If you wish to know ancient Greek, I could also help you on that.
I gathered that from your name. Would you be willing to assist us with translations?
I'll see what I can do.
Obviously, there will be some difficulty with more modern concepts.
And the dialect may have changed.
Also that.
I did not have as much experience with the newer languages, even in my time. They were versions of the language.
Presumably significantly less need back then.
So, I'm just wondering, did you guys do anything to piss off the Sabbat? Have they been following you? Do I have to worry about them following me?
Not that I am aware of.
Oh, good.
Aside from being Camarilla.
Yeah, well, yes. I mean, I'm just... Look, it's working on my mind a little bit. Why they kidnapped your friend and didn't kill him? That's unusual.
Agreed, that's why we're trying to find him.
And in a place that hunters were guarding. And why were they there? And I am really confused about all this, and it is just really... I haven't really talked a lot with my employer as much as I probably should have about the entire problems, but... I can be nervous instead of him?
Rest assured, Fieldings, that despite your lack of being in the field as much as it were, we will be taking care of this problem.
Do we have any way of telling what kind of vehicle they got in? I've only managed to pick up a few things here. Do any of you know how to tell what's going on here with tire marks and stuff? I mean...
I suppose I could round.
Alright, sure. Intelligence investigation. You'll sleuth it up a notch.
Intelligence or perception?
Actually, let's do...
I mean, I'm better at intelligence, but usually it's been perception.
I mean, like, I think in this case it's going to be intelligence, because it's like, there are probably noticeable tire tracks, because this area, like, the car is hidden off to the side, but the areas where it looks like the cars would have left from, or the car or cars or whatever kind of vehicles were here left from, is open. So it's like, okay, there's some tracks here, you know. No one has been here in probably a couple of days. Let's see what I can figure out from this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Damn.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Very good. Well then, you take some time. You really don't know model tires, but you can identify that there appears to have been about 4 motorcycles that had been hidden off into one of the bushes that were taken out from here. Plus, some kind of car. You're thinking, just from, like, size of tires and stuff and things like that, you're like, making a few guesses, like, forensically almost. You go, like, you know, you do a very good CSI job, and you're like, you're thinking it's a slightly heavier vehicle, maybe SUV or like, van of some kind, or maybe even a small truck. Like, it's the impressions are much deeper than the other vehicles, so it's a heavier vehicle, basically, like, you know. So...
These tracks are giving me an impression.
Wait, wow!
That perhaps it might have been 4 motorcycles and a truck, or a larger vehicle of some sort.
Okay,
so,
Fieldings will use that information and kind of relay it down into his group. I managed to find some camera work of a group of motorcycles coming from this area into town, but they are not with a larger vehicle, nor do they seem to have a prisoner on them. So whatever this vehicle was, most likely they put Samuel into it.
Makes sense. How many of these larger vehicles came into town? Let's see, it would have been
2 days ago.
2 days ago?
Well, it would have been like day and a half.
Day and a half ago, yeah.
Yeah, or a day and a half ago. And that late at night, actually pretty decent. You're talking about like a major like capital area in Romania is the city you're staying in. So plenty.
Well, but this is further out in a smaller area.
Yeah, this is off to a small area, but they're using like cameras on major highways to like find stuff.
Okay.
They don't really have a lot of cameras out this way.
Got it. But he did find a group of 4 motorcyclists all kind of dressed somewhat similarly.
And they look a lot like the people in the vehicle you kind of saw, so they're like, or like, they got video of earlier.
Okay.
They lose track of them kind of when they get into town, but it looks like they are in a northern section of the city. Last that you saw them. So, I don't know what they would have done with the vehicle and a person in it of like hiding in the back of it, but it looks like they loaded him into something.
Mm-hmm. Well, then it seems that perhaps we must go ask them.
Does your friend have any enemies in the Sabbat?
Is his neighbor in the Sabbat?
No. He had a contact that you heard in the Sabbat.
Mm-hmm. Not that I am aware of. As far as I know, the Nosferatu tend to stay rather familiar with both sides of the fence. You know what I mean.
Well, there are members of their clan in each group.
Right. So I think that without knowing more, we might need to go ask them.
I can go back to the hotel room. I don't know if you necessarily want to get into a fight, though.
No, I don't want to get into a fight. I want to get my associate back.
Well, okay. Alright. Let's see here. So you want to see if they could track the motorcycle group?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So. You'll be given some of the video, and you'll notice that two of the members of the motorcycle gang seem to be just like traditional biker kind of guys, and the other two seem to be kind of like got like hoods up and like kind of masks on.
Oh.
Okay. It seems as though there's 2 hoodlums.
Oh.
Man, on fire.
I mean, they make sense, though, don't they? Wouldn't those possibly be working for, Apacia?
Mm-hmm.
Ah. Well, I mean, the motorcycle gang makes sense, but I mean, the Masquerade does too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, so you know. Great. Excellent. I don't have to help you.
Mm-hmm.
You're confusing Fieldings now. He's just like looking at you like with this look of like,
He's an emotional mess, and Nathan is fucking with him.
Oh yeah, he's making it worse. Okay. So what's your plans now? Kind of
Alright,
scope
how
out
long...
the area where the motorcycles had driven into and see if you can find a biker gang that may or may not be vampires.
That may or may not be entirely vampires? That would suck.
Get motorbikes, dress up like a rival biker gang, and start a fight and make them come to us.
But can't, like, only one of you drive a vehicle of any kind?
Yes.
Let alone motorcycles?
Technically, one of us can legally drive, I think, because if I recall correctly, Dawn said her license was expired.
Yes.
No, my license is still fine. I'm still young enough.
Oh, that's right.
It's just my provisional.
Also, motorcycle versus car. I don't think any of you are trained in that.
We'll get a little sidecar
we'll
thing and I'll sit in it.
I was going to say, no, we'll get one of those little tricycle ones. Well, not little, but...
We're gonna
I can't fall off them.
Tricycle motorcycles. So,
and I'll say I had to get one for my fam.
So, like, 3 of them or something? Like, so you'll have, what, like, Fieldings driving one of you with VtM, and the other one on your own?
All leather jackets and hair gel.
Mm-hmm. Oh, like Leslie and Fieldings or something?
Right. That's how you get a biker gang to come to you. You become a biker gang.
Okay. Alright, so you're enacting the biker gang plan, I guess. Is that the plan?
I mean, that's just Dawn's input.
Well, we're gonna digress to Nathan here, who would have to buy a lot of motorcycles.
Nathan would have to buy all of it.
Is accurate?
No, I think we should grab that vehicle that they ditched by the side of the road.
You know, that's probably a better idea, yeah.
Okay.
At least for now, until that one fails, and then we have a backup plan.
Yep.
Okay. You can take their vehicle. It's been only been a couple of days, so it's in pretty good shape. But it looks like they kind of left one of the doors open, and there was some rain, and so it's a little yucky inside or something, you know.
Is it worse than what happens when Samuel sits in the driver's seat?
No.
Then we're fine.
All right. So
all right, who wants to drive that one? Dawn? Fieldings?
Oh, it's been a while since I've practiced my motorized vehicle, but I could try again.
Excellent.
All right.
Dawn, would you like to try?
How much time you got?
That's a good question. How much time do we have until the plane is supposed to leave?
Isn't it like tomorrow or something? No.
I think.
Yeah, it's like tomorrow, I think, or like early
Yeah,
on.
I think it's
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Yeah. Fieldings doesn't crash. He drives. He successfully drives with his 2 dice and difficulty of 7. He rolls a 7 and a 3 and manages to drive back.
I knew he'd be helpful.
There's probably a lot of stuttering of, like, you know, figuring out, like, you know, doesn't need to, like, switch gears or anything, you know.
Well, fortunately, there's no cameras in this area, and we know that.
The highway you normally would have to take to get back into town, yes.
Well, yes, but once he gets used to things a little more,
yeah,
then...
Yes, so you'll be able to get both vehicles back to your hotel, I guess, at that point in time.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm thinking we use this in some sort of crime.
Mm-hmm.
And then figure out where the authorities track it back. Because it's not ours. And it never was.
I mean, I already found out where it was from. Which we should probably not leave it at the hotel.
No.
It was,
we probably should not.
It was stolen.
Ah, that makes sense.
Yes.
That's unfortunate.
Yes.
Well, we should probably leave it elsewhere then.
That bar over there?
That sounds perfect.
Samuel hasn't left anything under the seats or anything?
Ooh, that's
Not
a good
written
question.
anything in pimple juice?
Let me take a chance and find out something here. Let me look up some stuff on Samuel's sheet and figure out what might he have done. Because that's a very good question. He might have done something. Alright. Okay, that's good. Uh-huh. Okay. Alright, so, give me a perception investigation of the car. Or alertness, whichever one you want to roll.
I have the same.
Okay, so, yeah, Nathan is just,
I helped!
Dawn helped. But Nathan...
Dawn was the one who thought of it. I think she's probably going to find it.
Yeah.
Or she'll notice something's odd, at the very least.
Well, she might say, like, well, why don't we check to see if it... And then so Nathan actually checks and looks around, like, rather than, like, what he's going to do. It'll take you kind of a while, like, turning the thing inside out, like, seeing in places that maybe, if someone was in, like, put in the back seat or put in the trunk or something of, like, where they could have hidden stuff. And Dawn will kind of, like, point out a few places that she'll notice, and Nathan will kind of thoroughly look, and eventually, though, you will find, a small piece of paper with like a weird stain on it, and like it looks like it's been drawn with a finger, and it looks like a little skull.
Yeah, that's pimple juice. I don't want to touch that.
I'd like to have Leslie roll linguistics.
I mean, he could be like, it looks like it was very crudely drawn, like maybe like he didn't have a very good chance to, like, write something in front of you, maybe too. If he was bound up, he might have been like trying to do this behind his back and just doing some kind of quick symbol and shoving it like into a little area.
So, what could that mean?
Do the people in masks have skulls on them? Is that what masks are?
Yeah, is there any skull related to the bikers that we've heard about?
Not necessarily. I mean, there's some skull related to the Sabbat. Yeah.
Oh.
Well, that doesn't seem very helpful. We already figured that part out. Jeez, Samuel.
Figured what out?
That it was the Sabbat that took him.
Oh. Why would the skull tell you the Sabbat?
What do you think the skull would tell us, Feelings?
Maybe they were ugly and Nosferatu or something? No, that wouldn't make sense. I could inquire with my employer. Maybe he would know something. I'm not caught up on all the Sabati stuff. I can share with him the Apatia thing, and maybe he'll know a little bit.
What was her title? The Queen of...
Tombs.
Well, that seems to fit fairly well. Yes, please do, Fielding.
Okay. He'll inquire for a little bit and then come back in a while and be like, well, have any of you heard of the Harbingers of Skulls?
Yes.
It seems that the one named Apatia is the one responsible for bringing the members of them into the Sabbat. And, I mean, I don't know if I should really talk about this information because my employer said it's a little dangerous to know it and it could get you killed.
Ah.
Oh.
And
wonderful.
He didn't really care for my safety and let me know about it.
All right. But do you care enough for ours to warn us?
You're nice to me. He suspects something about them, the Harbingers, because of
We
some of their
suspect
abilities.
something about them as well.
Well, it has been demonstrated that they use the abilities of Auspex, Fortitude, and Necromancy as their disciplines. There was one other clan that used those three directly.
And that was?
The Cappadocians.
Huh. Interesting.
My employer suspects that maybe they were a group that had found a place to hide for some time. Or perhaps a group that had traveled somewhere out of normal purview. And when they returned to the center stage, well, they found an old ally. Or at least an old member of who they had been. Or who they related to. At this point in time, VtM will kind of include in when perhaps they pierced the shroud itself.
Of death?
That is a way of saying it. Durgasin is slightly trained in the abilities that a Cappadocian would know. The discipline of necromancy. I learned a small amount of it from her, but when discussing it, she told me that perhaps at higher training, one could travel to the Shadowlands itself. A version of death. The reflection of our world in the dead. But yet not dead. I don't understand it quite well. You would have to ask her more. As one that is more studied, she would more understand it. And, well, she might know more of this, too.
Well, then I suppose we'd better hope that Durgasin has gotten the message.
What should we do about your friend, though? It seems though that a dangerous group has gotten a hold of him.
Well, I have already recommended we go and ask them. And when I say ask them, he pats his pistol. I intend to ask them very hard.
Well, in this case, I will assist you then.
As I said, we would greatly appreciate any assistance you can provide.
All right. So why don't we take our other break here? because we are technically down a third, as our Leslie has had to step away and, you know, move out. We might not go the entire time for the last break, but we can kind of finish up things here, because I'm probably not going to roll any combats out with the character you have that you're bringing by here. This is certainly a good excuse for getting a chivalrous person just to, like, beat the crap out of some things.
Oh, yeah.
All right,
as Samuel was one of the people who helped wake her up.
Exactly.
Even though he was captured at the time.
Yes. So, small break, and we'll be back again. Bathroom if you need to go, drink or snack if you need any of them, and we'll be back in a couple of minutes. So, see you in a second, folks.